are in here early. Simple Sam is early. Got food, got beer. Do I need to get tissues? Is there going to be another Abe stream after this? Nope. Show's still canceled. But we have today and next Friday stream, and then I can take a break. Martin Crockett, Hector, Jan, Cider. Welcome, everybody. Just getting ready here. Wow, fake chicken burger almost sounds delicious. Hey, Functor. Yeah, just a couple more minutes and we'll get going. Yes, next week is the last show. But we always have the dojo, Sam. We always have the dojo. Subarashi Mike, great track, thank you. Thanks a lot. Yep, it's true. It's true. After a couple of years, the stream is almost done. Yeah, the modular, that was recorded. I taped it and recorded it right there. That was it. One take, both with the audio and with the modular. So yes. If you look at the volume meter, you'll see that it goes to the beat. Or if you look at the rack in the background, there's a sequencer going, and you can tell that the part is being played from the sequencer. Oh, Rashane. Rashane's early. Rashane, you got to make a late entrance. You're too early. Can't have our VIP showing up before everybody else. What's up with that? All right, let's start the show. What do you say? party people. Welcome back. It's Friday, 1 p.m. And here we are one more time for maybe, well, let's see. This is not the last time. We have one more next Friday. Yeah, that's right. If you haven't heard the news, we're taking the show away. I'm going to stop streaming as of next Friday. But we still have these last two. I'm glad to see everybody in the chat. I mean, so many people, I can't even mention them all, but I just saw Mr. Capers come in, Vincent, and let's see who else. Let's just try to see if we can name them all. Simple Sam, Jan, Rashane, Subarashi, Mike, Hector, Functor, Simple Sam, Cider, Martin Crockett. I might have missed somebody, I think, but if I did, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, so we're back. We are going to go back to what we were doing last week, which is we were working on this track. If you remember, we recorded it. I had all the parts set up on my gear here, and I just kind of recorded it right into the computer. Subarashi wants to know why the stream is going down. We're not stopping stream. I think on Saturdays, John Selway will continue to stream. I'm just not going to be streaming on Friday. What else you want to know? Doing all right? Okay, that was Simple Sam. Simple Sam's talking to his friends in the chat. Anyway, Simple Sam's got beer, so he's good. All right, so let's go back to what we were talking about. So last week, we recorded this track. Let me see if I get my stuff here going, and kind of like it turned out to be like kind of electro track with like a 606 kick drum, and the drums were like 909. Martin Crockett's talking about the Ableton Dojo. You're right, you could still, if you want to see me and hang out, you can come and join the Ableton Dojo. We hold those every other week on a Wednesday, usually. Next Wednesday is our next one. That's part of the 343 studio initiative that we've been making. Let's see. Got this track here. You guys are confusing me. Not confusing me, but distracting me with all the cool stuff you guys are talking about. Oh, Vincent's working on music. That's great. Great to hear, Vincent. All right, so I got this track. And what I did this week was two things. I organized the parts and made put effects on them, kind of mixed it. I mean, not fully. I mean, I didn't spend copious amounts of hours on mixing it, but I did do a bit of a let's say a hasty mix on it. And then I also did a hasty arrangement. Like if you remember last week we recorded, it must have been like 12 minutes or so or something ridiculous like that. Now it's really about 3 and change. So like right around here, it's going to end, or can end. But then I added like a bonus beats area here. So if you wanted to make it 5 minutes, we can make it 5 minutes. That's, your choice. But let me play for you. Let me see what I have so you could hear what I have so far. Maybe you remember it from last week. Remember we had a Eurorack. We had this Eurorack going. We had this drum machine going. We had the circuit going. We had the 303 going. The Mofo going. And the Minotaur going. I think that's all we had going. But that's a lot of things to have going. Oh, also the DFAM and the Mother 32. And here's the arrangement. Now, it's funny, but realize that you can get the arrangement up here as well. A lot of people don't realize that if you go to the view, you can select overview and you could have the arrangement shown up there. All right, so here's my arrangement as it plays. It's gonna get going pretty soon. Okay, got that kick drum from it's not an 808, it's a 606. I don't stop to use 606 kick drums too often. I think I should, because it's kind of a compromise between an 808 and a 909, if you think about it. Well, at least the one in the TR8. The 606 on my actual 606, a little different. But the one on the TR8, the one they're calling the 606, is really like somewhere in between a 909 and a 808 kick. So it's got that real deep bottom that 808 does, but also has a bit of punchiness to it. So I did lots of these things. Where you see these cuts here is where I just did delete time. I did a lot of the delete time stuff, and I just kind of crunched it down to where it made sense and made it jump to these different parts. I did it with the idea in mind that I want to have a vocalist on top of this. So it's a bit sparse still, and it still sort of needs something to tie it all together, I think. But with a vocalist, it'll work. I'm pretty sure. So I think just about here we can call it, kind of over. But all throughout here, some vocalist is supposed to be doing something. I don't know what it should be yet. If you have any ideas and you're a vocalist, let me know. So I don't think it sounds too bad, considering, just recorded it in one shot, really. You guys saw me do it. You don't believe me, and you didn't see last week's stream. All right, so let's look at how I process some of this stuff. Because some of this stuff came in very different than what you hear right now. So let me just kind of fast forward here, show you into like the bonus beats area. Kind of like that. The old school bonus beats. Back in the day when I started, I hate that saying, but it's true. Back in the day when I started DJing in the 80s, you'd buy a track or the 90s, there'd be like bonus beats or club beats that you could just kind of use to like throw over other tracks. Okay, all right. So now that that's playing, let me grab a loop, a little bit of loop, so I can show you some of these parts. So here's the kick, and like I said, it's a cross between an 808 and a 909, I think. Which is funny because it's a 606. But let me grab all these parts and let me turn them off at once so you could hear what I recorded. So that's what I ended up recording. It's okay. But with the processing, it sounds like this. Tighter, more in your face. So you see me using a few of these devices. I tried to use as many Ableton stuff as I could, except for here I used this Pultec here. Now I got to tell you, I used these devices and I ended up changing the order of them so many times, because when you change the order of these devices, the sound can be radically different. But anyway, at the end we ended up with this. So let's just go one by one, where I cut the low end on that kick because I really wanted this transient here to show up, and then I shelved up the little bit of the top end of it. I find that a little bit of that air that shelving can do will really kind of make a kick or a bass line even come through. Watch. See, without it and with it. So that air, that stuff on the top, that stuff is not bad. And I had a drum bus, but I pulled the trim back as much as I could. Well, not much as I could, but by negative 1.56 dB. And I put it on soft. The thing about this, a lot of people try not to use it sometimes because they really feel like when you drop it in there, it really takes over and has this sound from, immediately starts sounding very saturated. But one of the things you got to realize is that if you pull back on the trim, the saturation will be lower. So let me show you what I mean. With the trim at 0, that drive already sounds very, very harsh. So I'll take away the drum bus and you'll hear the difference. See See, you could feel that saturation drive. And it's not bad, but it was a little too much for what I wanted. So if you want to have it a little more neutral, you could pull back on the trim. You could go as long as you want. But the trim at 0 definitely adds a bunch of harmonics already. A bunch of saturation to it. I played with the transient. Instead of having it like this, I had a kind of a low-end body-filled transient going on there. And I wanted to add a little bit of boom like that. And that sounds cool all by itself. I mean, if you could hear that bass that I just jammed in there with my 31 hertz boom, I was really considering keeping that 31 hertz boom, but I don't know, too much. Let's see. Well, that's not bad. Now I'm reconsidering it. That now in my head, in these earbuds, they actually go lower than my speakers. Headphones and earbuds, and especially headphones, can go a lot lower in bass, or replicate bass for you a lot lower than your home speakers can, depending on your home speakers, of course. But most 8-inch woofers, monitors with 8-inch woofers are going to just replicate somewhere in the high 30s if you're lucky, 38 maybe. So a 31 hertz boom wasn't really cutting it so well on my speakers, and now that I have these buds in, I'm like, maybe I'm going to keep that. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I don't know, let me know what you think in the chat. Tell me if it's too much. Anyway, oh yeah, maybe it would have been too much. Let me take it out for a minute. So let's go back to where I had it. See, I fooled around with it so much. I added then a Pultec with quite a lot of low-end boosts. So let's see what happens. This is 30 hertz low-end boost. So that's the Pultec low-end boost. And you know what? That's gonna be good for me. I'm gonna forego the Pultec. Maybe I'll pull back a little bit on it. Keep it, but not get so ridiculous with it. That's not bad. Okay, so Doug Smith says the bottom works for me. I'm listening on a nice subwoofer. Subwoofers. If you're not going to be using headphones on your mixes, you should have a subwoofer, because you'd be surprised. You think you bought these nice speakers and you could hear all the frequencies. Check the speakers that you have. Google the speakers you have for frequency response, and you'll be a little bit shocked sometimes with what you'll read about how low they're actually replicating. So now we're going to do a little bit of limiting here. Now with the limiting, I don't want to do this, which maybe now that I hear it, I kind of like it, but I wanted to show you what happens when you push the gain too much on a limiter. We're going nuts here, pushing the gain and basically making the limiter work real hard. Just kind of show you what how the limiter gets done, what they get done. It actually looks ahead in time to what's coming, so it could set itself up best, and that way prevent distortion. If I go to 1.5 milliseconds, see how much more distortion I get? At 3, a little less, and at 6, a lot less. So from 1.5 to 6, there's a huge difference in the amount of distortion that it adds, and this is not even as bad as it could get. It could get real bad. So just kind of giving you a little insight on how a limiter does its thing. It does it with look ahead. The problem with using too much look ahead is that it could steal your dynamics, and then your track sounds kind of dead. So I'm going to go back to not pushing this so much and see how it sounds like in the mix. Yeah, it's good, but it sounds a little loud to me now. So a little limiting to kind of keep it honest. maybe a little less Pultec action, because I did go nuts with the boom. Maybe I'll pull back a little bit on, I always pull back on things because I always am afraid to like get greedy with something. It always ends up getting me when I get greedy with mixing. I say a little bit of this sounds great, maybe a lot of bit of this sounds even better, but no, usually a lot of bit of this, you went over the line and now it sounds terrible. All right. Yeah, that kick is still loud. Yeah, I can live with that. Okay, let's let that loop go and look for some other parts. See what happens here. Let's see how it feels like when everything comes in. Let me know at home how this is sounding. I don't have the benefit of continuing to be able to switch between speakers, earbuds, different headphones, which is what you should be doing when you think you're in this mixing stage of a track. So let me know how y'all think it's sounding in your places. Just wonderful about the times we live in. I could be on my equipment, making tracks, talking to you guys, playing it. Well, at least for one or two more sessions, and then I won't be. But you know what? I still stream. I stream on Bluelist TV on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. where I just play live with this gear for an hour, 4 to 5. Bluelist TV Tuesdays. It's on Twitch. You should come and check it out if you want to hang out. We do kind of the same thing, but not really. I don't really teach you how to do things. I just kind of play and talk about what I think should come next. And I just play live for an hour. All right. So, also, I needed to talk to you about something. Our school, 343, is having a Black Friday sale that's going on. A lot of people always ask me, when is the best time to buy classes? And it's always during the Black Friday sale. I think the Black Friday sale is running now, but it's gonna stop working. I think it's like 35% off classes plus 2 pro sessions included. But that's gonna be done by Sunday night. Sunday night it'll be over. So let me put this link in the chat. 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, New York City time. 4 to 5 p.m. I won't be streaming next week because they're over there. They take a break for the holiday, for the turkey holiday, Thanksgiving. I won't be there next week, but every Tuesday after that, I should be there. No problem. Yeah, that low end sounded really nice. So yeah, there's the link for the Black Friday pre-sale. Maybe you could come and take a class with me. It would be great. You could also, instead of seeing me on a stream, you could actually sit in a Zoom meeting with me and learn. It actually works really well to make to make some lessons happen we do this all the time. We have classes online. We have classes. You come to New York City, you can take a class with me or with so many of our wonderful instructors. See the school and, meet everybody and be part of our community. Same thing in Berlin. We have a school in Berlin. Anyway, let's get back to this track. Things are working here. I'm feeling good about the low end now. I wanted to show you something else in this track. I want to show you how I did some of these transitions. So let me turn on check this out. I use there's this part here. So this Eurorack, this is the whole Eurorack. And the problem is that for this Eurorack, it was all coming out of one mixer and it was all recorded into one channel. And when I made Vincent, I just put in the Black Friday link in there. I'll do it again, but I think it just went in there. Hold on. Let me I had it in there. Try it again. There we go. All right. So I let me play you. Let me take off the effect, and let me play you some of these transitions. For example, this one here. So this is what this is playing here. So this is it right here. And it should cut into that. And that can sound like a very abrupt cut. So this is happening here. And eventually, if I would have left it all, it would have morphed into that. But this abrupt cut was a little too abrupt. So what I did was I added this this envelope, throwing it into this echo effect, which I'll turn on now, so I could show you how that worked out. So once again, I'll play it for you now. Sorry. One more time. Sorry. All right. So I'll play without the without the beat, and then you could hear what the transition sounds like then. See, so all going into that echo, and now part of that, see that trailing part makes for such a smoother transition. So I'm gonna play you with the beat. So let's see. Where's the solo button? There we go. See how that part that's trailing off, that part happened just because I caught it at the end of that splice there. So when you make these splices, you have to make these little tricks to kind of meld it together. If I didn't have that, it would have been a little too abrupt. Maybe I could show you what it sounds like. So, okay, let me show you what it sounds like without it in it. So this is what it would have sounded like without the see, it was just a little too much of a cut. And to me, it was obvious.Maybe if you didn't know about it, it wouldn't have been so obvious, but hey. And I did it a few times. I did it every time I thought this cut was a little too dry going into the next thing. I did it. Yeah, it sounds good. Good. So what else did I want to show you before we go? Because I want to treat the master on this thing and call it done. Well, at least till a vocalist gets on it. Let's see. Oh, I did a little reverse thing with the snare, just quickly. I kind of just did it and it worked out. I took a piece of the snare like it was, going straight forward through here, and I cut it out. And that's the snare right there. But what I did was, I reversed it, but pitched it down by 5. And in the complex mode, the complex warp mode, it got this kind of weird listen to that. Now I'm going to switch it to like Complex Pro. You'll see what the difference is. Watch. This is a little more, not as tight. Let's try another mode. Let's try something like beats. Watch what happens. That's kind of cool, but it's different. And let's try tones. Kind of cool, still different. Like the complex worked the best for me. And I also ended up time stretching it. So I pulled it a little, so it's a little longer. Maybe I should pull it a little longer so it actually reaches right to the end there. Let's see what that happens. Yeah, let's see what that sounds like when it comes through. No, Shane, my stream isn't. My last stream is until next week, as Simple Sam said. I'm gonna have a special party next week with special guests. Yeah, I'm gonna miss him too. This was my highlight of my week. What can we do? All right, so let's get right into it. I left the master completely devoid of anything. I'm gonna bring down the group here, give myself a little more headroom. kind of work on this master. Got plenty of headroom here. 0 is here. Peaking isn't even going to -6. Most engineers will tell you, yeah, give me a file when they want to master it. Give me a file that peaks at -6, and we're right about there. I think we'd make all these, Square engineers very, very happy if we rendered it and sent it off. Francesco Morisi says the best YouTube show. If so, thanks. And I know you're not just saying that to make me feel better, because I'm leaving. I'm not leaving 343. You can come and take classes with me anytime you want. I'm just not going to be streaming after next week. I remember we have that Black Friday sale going on right now. We still have one stream in the week, which we kept the most popular of the streams, which is John Selway's stream on Saturdays, Techno Saturdays. So come back and get your 343 TV on Saturdays. All right, let's start with the master chain here. I'm going to take a EQ. Now, there was a big discussion. There was a big to-do on Instagram this week. We put up a 343 we do these kind of little, posts where we give some quick advice, quick insight, quick tidbits of what you might see at our school. And we put one in there that said, a good thing to do for the low end, maybe on mastering, is to put an EQ and cut the low end at 20 hertz, just like I'm doing right now. Oh my goodness, that was the internet went on fire, or at least Instagram did. And man, everybody started to complain. Oh, you're gonna kill your transient. This is terrible advice. Oh, we were like, oh my god. First of all, it's just a small little post or a little tidbit of maybe an idea of something you could do. And second of all, it's not terrible advice. I understand where some of you were coming from about killing your transient or whatever. I personally believe that this type of technique is sometimes the right thing, which is a little bit of a sacrifice, but it's for a good reason. And sometimes it's not, and sometimes it should be avoided. When you have a lot of action on the low end, you see there's a lot of action here on this low end, like the kick and the bass line. Let's see, watch. When the bass line is there, this is the bass line up here, this is the kick over here, and there's all sorts of other little bloopsy things happening. When that's the case, then I like to cut everything underneath 20 just to kind of give this area a chance to get a little more clarity. So I understand if this was a trap track or something like a orchestra, I probably wouldn't do that. It's not always necessary to cut at the 20 hertz mark, because your body can feel very low frequencies that are under 20 hertz. It could be 12 hertz, and you could feel that's the lowest note that a human can feel, 12 hertz. So, and even when you're cutting with this slope, this is a 48 dB per octave slope, you're not really cutting everything that's under 20 hertz. It starts here, but look, it keeps on going, and there is still, if I drop a Spectrum device, and you look, this is the 20 hertz line, there is still stuff down here. So it's not like it's completely devoid of it. It's like, I don't agree with like a brick wall with that's a little bit dangerous. That's a bit dangerous, a brick wall. But anyway, let's keep going. So I got an EQ there. Actually, I'm going to switch it out because I think I want to do the Fab Filter EQ. I tell you, I try to use the Ableton stuff as much as I can, but there's points where I kind of need to have a little more of some more detail. So I'm going to do, again, this cut at 20 with the 48 dB per octave. Let's go 36 and not be that crazy about it. 36 dB per octave, and then low cut, and we'll set that to, where's the frequency? Set that to 20. And we'll bring the Q up so it's level and flat. That's going to be good. But now I'm going to look for some weird intrusive frequencies around 200 hertz. That's the first thing I always look for. And I do this little sweeping until like kind of draws me into like the worst, ugliest possible area, ringiest sort of area of the ring that I don't want, and I'll get it out. What about when you have a kick and rumble going on? Would there be cases where one could apply a low cut at 20 hertz? Yeah, of course. The reason you apply the low cut at 20 hertz, the biggest reason that you may do this in a track and mastering or in mixing even, is to try to make everything where the kick and the bass are happening work out best. So 50 hertz is like the magic frequency for low end. You ask any drum and bass producer, they're looking for 50 hertz, right? 50 hertz is that frequency. And if you have a 50 hertz frequency, and you want to make that compete with like a bass line that's like doing 56 hertz, 56 and 50, and they're doing this kind of groove. They're making this groove happen. Well, it's not clear. How do we make it clearer? How do we make it tighter? Well, we go on the bottom, take some of that stuff off the bottom so that it forms better around the 50 hertz region. It's a sacrifice, because if I didn't have to do it, I would never do it. I would absolutely never do it. But hey, okay, anyway, I got that going. I'm going to grab a bus compressor now. I'm doing the UAD stuff today, I guess. I want to do the API 2500. That's a pretty good bus compressor, or initial bus compressor. It's a lot like the glue compressor, but it's got its own thing going on. I don't want to drive like crazy, so I want the ratio to be. The cool thing is you could go to 1.5, which is also referred to as 3-to-2 compression. So you want to just go 3-to-2 and bring the attack to a very lazy position, and the release to a quick action. So I really don't want to make this thing work too hard. I just want to bring the threshold so that needle is bumping just a little bit more than 0, but really not too much. I really don't want to abuse bus compression right now. It's just this kind of first initial kind of sonic hug, as Dan Wyatt used to say. Does everything not start to ring if you boost with 30 dB? I'm boosting with 30 dB just to look for it. So, yeah, I was boosting here just to find it, right? But you're right. At 30 dB, everything is going to sound horrible. But there's that ring. But there it is at 20 as well. Let me bring it over here. And there it is at 10. I can hear it even without boosting it, to tell you the truth. I've just been used to doing this exercise in that way just because of instructing or teaching my students to be able to hear it. So when I make it super obvious, I'm like a captain exaggerator, because I love to exaggerate to show where things are actually going. So whenever I want to show a student to listen, this is it. That's the sound. That's what you want to get. But now learn to listen for it at quieter levels. So yeah, I boosted very high. It was more for the sake of the listener and for a quick find as well. I know that there's always something around 200 hertz in a dance track, always. So I think you do want them to ring to hear which ones are the ones that are annoying. Yeah, you do. You do want to hear them. You want to be able to figure out which is what. See, the problem is that if you go, so a lot of people will look for other resonances, right? They'll look for resonances that ring, and basically resonances you could, find them by finding ringing. But if look, I'm only at 20 dB right now, and I could find ringing everywhere, and I could make a case that everything is ringing. And so one time I showed one of my students this technique, and then they came back the next class and they had like 10 EQs here with 10 little dips because they had found 10 ringing frequencies. We talked about it, and now he understands that's not the way you should go about it. You just get the most obvious one. So I would do usually the one at 200 hertz, and then I'll see if I find one more around here. Usually, if I sense it, it's there, and then but I won't go nuts looking, because especially if you go at 30 dB, you're gonna find everything. Anything you thought you could find, you find in there. All right, so let's go. We got the initial compression going. Let's add some EQ now. Let me mold this thing. The API. It's API day. Let's go back to the API. 560 this time. That's my favorite EQ ever now. I've said it. There it is. Favorite EQ ever. So let's throw that in there. And basically, just gonna be doing this and letting it fall where I think it should fall. Too much is too much. Too little is too little. Come on, let's get the beat going. Just a little touch of that. A little more of that. And scoop amount of that. For some reason that works good too. That one is not so fresh. So leave that kind of neutral. Let's get back in it. Just kind of slide them around until you feel you've gotten to the place. I'm not going to mess too much with the bass here. I'm going to throw a Pultec in there. But let's hear the difference. Wow, what a big difference. 560 rocks. Look at that. I mean, it's so obvious that it's way better. And look at it. It doesn't look, it looks like I barely did anything with it. I just moved a couple of little points here and there. And look at that. I don't get it. But I don't have to, because I love it and I'm just going to use it. All right, let's see. Let's see what else we could grab here for an EQ. I still want to see what the 1073 will do with the air. That little air might not be bad for it. So where's the Neve 1073? Put that in there. No Legacy says it sounds great. Yeah, it does. Oh, this is not the 1073 one. Yeah, it does sound great. The API 560 is no joke. You can get it from Waves for like $30. Black Friday, you probably can get it for like negative $30. I'm just gonna add a little touch of air there. I don't want to go too nuts. I just want to make it a little airier. See? I'm gonna start showing you what all this stuff is doing. Turn it all off together. Kind of flat. Oh, now we're kicking it. Oh, one thing I forgot to put in there, and I'm going to put in there right now real quick at the beginning of the chain, is a bass mono situation here. So we're just dealing with the bass in mono. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's so much livelier with the stuff that we put in there. All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep that going because we have a lot of we still have a lot of headroom left. Tons. Too much, maybe. Maybe we have to even lower the volume on this thing a little bit so that we don't blow you out of the water and it doesn't distort because it distorted on the stream. Is there a reason why I used both the 1073 and the 560? Can't you just do it with just one? You could if you only had one, but although I love the body of what so the API, the 560, I love the mid-range body and including the high mid-range, but not very much the very high end, and which is the air. The air is for me best coming from the 1073. So I use the air from the 1073. I use most of the mid-range stuff coming from the API, and I'm about to grab the Pultec for adding a little more bottom. Yes, that's right, more bottom. You can never have enough. I know I did add some Pultec to the kick drum earlier, but I'm gonna take to the whole track. Like everything in the whole track is gonna get more low end. So where is the Pultec? Yeah, let's do that. Put it inside the little thing there, and let's see what happens if we go. Okay, that's ridiculous, but I just wanted to show you what we do. So let's pull that back. I think around 3. It's going to be a good boost with a bit of the attenuation at the same level. Yeah, that's nice. A little more, just a little more. Don't get greedy, Abe. Don't get greedy. Okay, cool. I'm not going to put any saturation on this because these EQs are adding plenty. And the thing was recorded analog anyway, so how much more saturation could the band take? The question is that boost attenuation trick only work on the bottom end of the Pultec? Well, it works magically on the bottom end. It's also possible to do it on the mid range, but it's not. It doesn't have the same, oomph, if you will. Okay, so what do we have next? We have we did that. Now let's deal with oh, I always like to throw this in for good measure. The Oxford inflator. Why not? Why not? Sure. Let's do Oxford inflator. So let's get some beats. Yeah, it just kind of brings things out. Changes it. Yeah, look at that. Look at the RMS. And look at the RMS. The RMS hasn't changed, but the loudness, the apparent loudness is so louder. Watch. See, the RMS is getting kind of up there, although not as much, not as often. Yeah, the Esser's coming. The Esser's coming. I'm going to do one more thing. Fadilas is suggesting at the Esser. I'm going to do one more thing before we go to the S-ing. I'm gonna add that isotope imager. I think it's not a bad thing. Where is it? Let's see where it is. Here it is. This is what I want. And after the imager is when I usually do the. What would you use as an alternative to an inflator? You can use the saturator. If you're using Ableton, you can use the saturator in soft sine mode and add about 1 or 2 dB to it, to the drive. It's remarkably close to the Sonics inflator. Okay, so let's look at the low end. Low end's pretty much a stick and staying that way. I don't need to make it more mono than it is. It's it's okay. And let's try this band. This is the band that I usually boost more than any other. I'm gonna bring all that out. See, this is without. This is full on. Without. Full on. This is what I had before. Full on. Full on is where we're going. Now that's full on. Yep. And let's see, maybe another frequency. Let me see what I could do with this one. See, but this one's going to pick up a little sibilance. That's why I don't like to push it so much. So you get a lot more sibilance then. That's why I wait to put the ESR on until I do this imaging thing. Because as soon as I'm pushing these two higher bands, it contributes to the sibilance. But wow, things do come out. That's amazing. Let's try the chain off for a second. Oh man. Wow. Okay. I'm feeling good. Let's see what's next. Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry. Tadilla said throw a de-esser on that bad boy. Let's see, maybe we need more than one. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to look for bad frequencies. And I'm going to do it by swinging this around. I want it in all-around mode, not in single vocal mode. So it's a little harsh here, which is lower than I usually stop. I usually stop a little bit here, but all this stuff is good. I think I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, this area, and kind of catch everything happening. Kind of focused around 5 kilohertz. Let's get back here. Yeah, that's the stuff I'm going to probably want to reduce. Yeah, it's taking a little bite off of it, a little too much bite off of that snare. Just gonna set it up so that the snare doesn't get. You gotta play with this threshold setting and make sure you're just in the right place. Because if you go like here, there's a range, kind of control here that only allows for 6 dB. Right now, 6 dB of compression, but you can change it. But 6 dB still happens all around here. You don't want it to catch all the time. You want it to go just to the tip of the threshold there and let it catch that egregious high end that's making things harsh. See what this sounds like. Maybe. Yeah, a little different. All right, so got that. What's next? I think I could live with just going to a bus compressor. Let's go to that Magic Death Eye. Let's put it in that secret mode with the pinup girl. Bring up the threshold. It's starting to get into red, so I got to start compressing this down a bit. I still want to have some headroom going into the limiter, because I'm gonna put a limiter after this. Yeah, nice headroom. Hey, by the way, if you like what you see, give me a like. I haven't even asked you guys this time. I always ask you like 7 times during the show for a like, but if you won't have too many more chances to hit a like on this stream as we are going away as of next week. Next week is the last show. Anyway, yeah, about that. Remember that I stream on Brewless TV on Tuesdays. This is on Twitch. from 4 to 5 p.m. If you want to see me, come and visit me. I also read the chat there, so if you want to ask questions, I also will answer them. And I can't stress it enough. I'm going to throw this in the chat again. There's a Black Friday pre-sale we're holding right now, and it goes away on Sunday. So it's 35% off for any class. Come and take a class with us, maybe with me in New York City, or online, or in Berlin with somebody else, because I'm not in Berlin. Okay, so we have the. I like what the Magic Death Eye is doing. Wait, no, let's actually kick that filter in there. That'll be better. That way, I can push it a little more now, because it's not squishing the low end. It's not squishing anything under 150 hertz with that filter. Well, not bad. And let's throw in the last thing, which is going to be the FabFilter Pro L2. I've been using the kind of, easy to use modern mode. You can't get wrong the modern mode. You don't even have to really play with the look ahead. I stopped these. There's always that negative 0.3 kind of official loudest that your track should be. I stopped doing that. I go straight to 0 now. A lot of people are going to +2 and not caring. A lot of professionally rendered tracks, I'm looking at them, they're at +2 in the red, and nobody cares. I'm like, well, why am I bothering for a negative 0.3? I'm going to go to 0. All right, yeah, I think you should put it in the chat, 343, because I've been trying. Okay, so that's that. Let's see. The Magic Death Eye compressor is on sale for Black Friday. If anybody wants it, $60. Oh my God. It's usually about $160, maybe more. $60 is a good one for that. The Magic Death Eye is going to be, it's a derivative of the Fairchild 670, but the only thing it has that the 670 doesn't is this 150 hertz filter. The new one, they have a new one, which is a dual one, has a 200 hertz filter. I think that might be more appropriate, but still 150 works quite well. But the Fairchild 670 has no filter for the low end, so no high pass filter there. So then what happens is that low end gets caught up in the compression action and starts to distort the compressor a bit too quickly before you can get some real love out of it. So Magic Death Eye it is. Okay, so one more time. Let's look at it now. Let's look at the peak and the RMS and see what we got. So this is peaking at 0 or thereabout, and the RMS is pretty high, about -6. I'm going to do the level matching thing. So if I turn off the whole chain, this whole chain, kind of a tame track now. I'm going to check what the maximum peak level is here. So got about a -0.3. I'm going to call that -4 for peak. And RMS is a little different of a story. I think it's like -12 RMS. So with that means that there's at least a 4 to 6 dB range, and just metering. So I'm going to take a utility, and on the chain here, I'm going to drop it by at least 6 dB. So we have 6.56 dB, negative 6.56 dB. And so that should bring it down closer to the range of what is being metered here. So I'm going to turn it on, and when I turn on the chain, it'll just be the sound of the chain with a relatively even playing field when it comes to the level. So let's see. Here we go. So yeah, it's definitely better. The peak and the RMS are staying in the same range. And this is definitely flatter and not so put together, not so tight. So definitely level matched. It does sound better. I knew it did, but usually I want to show you all that things are actually sounding better, just to prove that what I'm doing is not a waste of time. Do you always want to match that level you had before applying the chain, and why? No, I'm just matching the level right now just to kind of prove that everything is better with the chain. But normally when I'm working, I know that I'm making it better, and I don't like stop to like level match it again. Like, I find no reason to do that. There's really no reason to do that at that point. All right, so yeah, we're getting close to the end of the show. If you have any questions, maybe you can drop them in quickly now, or if you still have any likes for me, you could hit that like button now and maybe subscribe to our channel. We got to 29K now. We're pretty high. But anyway, yeah, I guess with that, I'm going to end the show. So remember, next week is our last show. So please be here and invite your friends, and, you know, we'll make a little party of it. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm not going to start a new track because I won't be able to end it and finish it. So we're going to do whatever. Maybe we'll bring some guests in. That might be fun. All right, everybody. With that, I'm going to sign off and say goodbye.